Sunny Hostin on her network television show just recently accused her white neighbors of being racist, stating that she felt compelled to go to her local law enforcement to remind them not to profile her son because he'll be running around in an all-white neighborhood training for the Junior Olympics. Now, I need to remind you, this is a chick who literally descends from slaves, and her husband has been accused of insurance fraud in a lawsuit. But instead of being concerned with that, she's up here calling her white neighbors racist, who you can guarantee votes Democrat, votes blue no matter who, will probably vote for this jihadist mayor. And it's just another example that encapsulates how utterly cucked most white people are in this country. Because for her to go on network TV to make these defamatory, slanderous accusations, and she still feels safe to live in that neighborhood, like not peer pressured to leave, because that's what they should do. They should peer pressure her to leave Purchase, New York, because that's where she's currently residing, which is considered to be one of the highest average household incomes in the country. But because so many so-called white people are so pathetic with their liberalism, they tolerate fake black chicks calling them racist, slandering them on network television. And ultimately, with all of the conflicts and issues going on in this country, that's what it comes down to. It comes down to a lot of cuck white people's tolerance for either foreign-born enemies or self-proclaimed minorities. Because that very tolerance is what allows jihadists to populate this country, is what allows Negro crime to happen, going unconfronted throughout this country. It's their white guilt bullshit and refusing to do anything about any serious problems because they're more concerned with being deemed racist than, I don't know, saving their own lives and the lives of others who don't want to be affiliated with that woe is me people of colored bullshit. But the reality is people like myself have to put up with it because of the inaction of the majority in this country, at least as it stands now, that being so-called white people, tolerating this bullshit. Because, me personally, even before I started a YouTube channel, I've given up on trying to convince Negroes to be sensible. And so the last resort is to try to at least put the messaging out there that so-called white people need to uncuck themselves from this racial grievance narrative. And also the views audience, mostly so-called white, in the audience where she's spewing this, didn't boo her, didn't jeer her at all. And again, it just goes to show you, they will call all so-called white people racist, whether they voted for Trump or not. Because again, these rich, wealthy, white neighborhoods in places like Purchase, New York, are vote blue no matter who type morons. I mean, these are the people where a lot of the sons and daughters that are part of the Antifa movement come from. Because, those type of movements are usually populated by lefty, loony whites that come from rich white families that live in places like Purchase, New York. But again, it just goes to show you, it doesn't matter how much of an ally you show yourself to be, you will still be condemned by these self-proclaimed colored people. which is why these morons trying to blow up their own countries to appease them just shows you why I state they are the most pathetic people on the face of this planet. Because at least the so-called minorities and self-proclaimed colored people, they're under this delusion that they are fighting for their own. Whereas whites that participate in liberal ideology, they're participating knowing that these people are announcing their utter despise and hate for so-called white folks. Because they generalize. When they're talking about white people, they're not just saying, oh, I'm just talking about MAGA whites or Republican whites, conservative whites. No, they just say white people. Unless these liberal white people are just too low IQ to comprehend the fact that they are being included with the evil white supremacist talks, not just conservative whites. I mean, a couple of videos from the videos I've seen during the BLM protest riots of 2020, it did showcase liberal whites getting attacked and in their utter shock saying, hey, I'm on your side. So yeah, some of these people are that fucking retarded to think that when they're condemning white people, they're not talking about them. Or they're just talking about the MAGA whites. Utterly pathetic and utterly cucked.